Okay, so when we first came to think about displaying the lace scarf, we approached it in a conventional manner as we would in a display without iPads, which was to put it in a case that's like a tabletop case at a pretty conventional height. This has probably worked out at being tabletop height as being a good working height for most people to see. It's not too low for tall people, not too high for short people, and it can be seen by wheelchair users. Because we wanted to give the scarf a bit of life, and instead of just having it simply laid out flat on display, we put these acrylic forms underneath it, which were as an attempt to give the scarf a bit of life, because we wanted it to feel as if both it was being handled in its production method by being hand finished by the original manufacturers of it, and also that it was a garment and therefore wasn't expected to be seen flat out and stretched out. It would have looked wrong if it was like that. That meant that we then had to put this display case in, which is around about, I think, about 15 centimetres deep, to accommodate the forms. So far that's fine, but then when we came to install the iPad had to be suspended at a height that was going to clear the display case so that it wasn't either deliberately or accidentally swung against the case, which would either damage the case or damage the iPad and its fitting. It actually doesn't quite clear it now, but it's actually the rubber handles that are slightly rubbing against it, so it's not really a problem. There's a bit of cushioning going on. And so, as you can see, the iPad is fixed from a fixed position at the top, and the area that activated the iPad was this area of detailed embroidery, and therefore to activate the visuals on the iPad it's necessary to lift the iPad over the embroidery. The edge of the display case actually prohibits the iPad from reading the image as the marker if it's present on the screen. So you have to lift the iPad right over the embroidery to activate it, like so. And what then happens is, as you can see, because the iPad is at a fixed height, it sort of swings up from this position and gets quite high. In fact, it's just about comfortable for me, and I'm a tall person, so anybody who's any shorter than me, it's going to be an awkward height for them to activate, and certainly if you're in a wheelchair it's going to even be harder. In fact, I would argue that it's probably impossible for a wheelchair user to activate the iPad at this height. So we found out really by the hard way that this object is needed to be displayed at a height considerably lower, and so we're actually in the process of having the legs remade to take the top down by an amount which therefore gives the iPad much more easier to use, an easier height to use.